as you can see, the bonnet has been flipped over. Goal today is to get that in epoxy primer. I don't think I need to do any blocking. I might take the 320 to it. And I also brought the carpet over today to fit that in the body to see where that's going to cover so that I know what to paint. I got this stuff over here that I'll take care of. And other than that, not a whole lot on tap for today. It is Sunday, so I need to try to find something to do since it's the weekend and I got some time over here. But the other set of hinges, I'm also going to put the bonnet clips on. I bought the fitted carpet kit from Rimmer Brothers when it was on sale. And the carpet kit comes from Newton Commercial, which is the same place I got my seat kits from. This is the molded carpet. The molded kits are more expensive than the regular or the unmolded kits, but they being molded, they'll look better, hopefully, more clean, and also more factory original. So I have several pieces here. We're just going to see kind of what happens. But you can see with this how it's formed and everything. And what's kind of nice is if you get into a little bit of trouble where it's not going to fit real well, you can do a little bit of heat and give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. And that's how these are. They're like formed with on heat dyes or something like that, I guess. So we're just going to fit stuff up kind of rough here and see how it looks. These pieces here are for the lower A-posts that go in the footwells. This piece here, obviously this is the stick shift. It's kind of nice that it's incorporated into it already. I don't have to worry about that. You can also see here everything is on the edges that are going to show anyway. Everything is all trimmed. I can't put this in because I don't have the transmission tone. Got a real rough fit here. You can see up in the top, that's all going to need to be painted up into the dash and all that, so that shouldn't be too hard to get at all. But then back here, I've got essentially coverage everywhere, and the wheel arches, all those get covered in vinyl, and then there's vanity plates, for lack of a better way to put it, that go along here, and then the big plate that covers the gas tank. The only thing I do have to paint really here is where the soft top goes in. Those brackets there need to get painted. But yeah, everything else looks like it's pretty much going to be covered in carpet. So I'll go ahead and trace these lines out over here just so I know how far up I need to go. But I think really, as long as I go, if you look over there where the bottom A post meets with the upper A post, I think as long as I start to paint down onto the curved portion a little bit, I'll be fine. So I don't think I need to mark anything now that I think about it. The only other piece of carpet that will need to go into here along where the inner sill is, and those are just strips. These guys here, they get put in first, I think. It does come with instructions. The instructions aren't quite as nice as the seat instructions, but it does explain to you how to put them in and in what order and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, some of the form pieces are going to need glue. Others, like this big piece here, I think just gets held down with bolting the seats in and all that. And then, like I said, the front ones there are snapped in. So, happy with the way that looks. I'll bag this stuff all back up and then continue on. Bonnet latches are in. The hardware for this gets painted in body color. So I scuffed that up and it'll get shot with the epoxy when I do the epoxy coat here today, both the inside and the outside. Going to take the DA sander to the bonnet. I taped up a couple spots here in preparation for paint. Taped off the headlight holes. I'm going to leave the grill mouth open and the light mouths open just because I don't think I'm going to get too much paint that way. But right behind the headlights are the wheel arch and I want to get residual paint on that. And I got the bonnet latches on there, so those will get painted over. Bunch of stuff up here back again. Got the other side door hinges, the bonnet pivot hinges, and a bunch of the bonnet stuff, some shims for the door. And I'm going to go ahead, like I said, hit this with the DA sander just a once over, make sure it's smooth everywhere, and then get it in epoxy. What you see here is little desiccant filters. If you've noticed while I've been painting, these go at the gun for me, and that's just to try to take care of some of that last little bit of moisture that makes it down the line. On the left is the motor guard one. These are the only ones that I'd used up until that time. You can't really see inside too well, but if you were to see the little blue beads in there, they're not blue anymore. Now they're pink, for the most part, telling me that this thing is past its prime and has sucked up as much water as it's going to suck up. So when I was at Harbor Freight the other day, I found these there and picked them up. These are a lot more beefy. It's a metal cap instead of all plastic construction. You can see that the beads being blue there, showing you that it's fresh. So I thought these were just about $1 cheaper or so per item. So I was kind of excited to use that, but unfortunately, when I put it on the gun, I can't get any flow out of it. So sure enough, either that's restricting my flow rate quite a bit or something, I'm not quite sure, but I have to crank the gun up to about 60 pounds to get any amount of flow through it. And since I don't really have a good feel for that, I'm just going to go back to using these. So unfortunately, as much as I wanted to use that and as much more stout and believe it or not from Harbor Freight, a better construction unit, I'm going to have to go back to the motor guards. And the only place I've been able to find them is Amazon. So hopefully I'll get away with this one today for the epoxy on the bonnet. But then I'm going to have to order some more. Two coats of epoxy on the bonnet. I have to work on my overlapping a little bit. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know how well you'll be able to pick it up, but about right in there, right where that light is, there's a dry spot. Just not getting enough overlap, moving too far in between passes, and it's giving me a little dry spots. Should be okay, but we'll see. I'm also seeing some artifacts and everything on here that I didn't see before. So I'm not sure that I don't have a little bit more work left on the bonnet, as much as I hate to say it. Also have all those parts up there that I got painted, and I spun up, or excuse me, mixed up the correct amount of paint, so I didn't waste any. So that's about it for me for today. All right, welcome back. About 10 to 5 on Monday, the 29th of July. Quick revisit. The excuse me, the epoxy's down. Definitely had some dry spots. If you can kind of see that, I pointed out on the video, they definitely came through. And there's also several spots on here that I'm not too crazy about. I'll see if I can find it here. There's one right in here, yeah, right there. If you can see that. Another one over here, right there. And just being sanding marks, or scratch marks, and whatever. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to hit this with another round of build primer. So I'm going to check it out all over the place. A nasty old run right here. Check it out all over the place. Block it down with 320. Pick it up at 320, I think, or maybe 220, and see what it looks like at that point, and then decide. The other concern is I got these screws down here, and I don't want to load them up with build primer, so I'll tape those off instead of removing it. But there's definitely a little bit more work here to do. So I'll block everything out and see what it looks like afterwards. I'm only going to put build primer on the stuff that I think needs it. So if the exterior or the wings out here look like they're pretty good, then I'll just shoot the build primer over the center portion here. You can also see, if I can find it for you, yeah, right there, that big old divot there, that's the spot weld from the bracket. I didn't do that, and I'm going to leave that. The back one doesn't look anywhere near as bad, but that's what that front one is there, right where the spot welds are. So I'm going to leave that because that's what the factory did. But anyway, we'll do some blocking here and see how it comes out. All this other stuff should be good. I'll get that all put away. Worked on blocking some of this out. This wing over here is just about good. I'm going to take the DA sander here to it, make it a little bit quicker because I'm not trying to get it any more flat. I think I am probably going to have to end up putting another round of build primer, but just inside the wing inside the seams here of the wings. So just down the center, just to fill those spots in. We'll see. I haven't made that final decision yet until I'm done blocking, but we'll see. Did once over on everything with 320. Wipe it down, get it cleaned up, see what the scratches look like. It's hard to tell sometimes because the very fine dust fills them in. So you wet it down, and the truth is told. Looking over some of the spots that need attention, anywhere where you see the dark, especially the streaks. This is just a spot where I didn't get to with the sandpaper to scuff it up, but some of the streaks and the camera's having really trouble focusing. Some of the streaks, there's one right here, one right there, several over here. I got a couple low spots. You can see this whole portion in here. Not real crazy, to tell you the truth, about how the bonnet's looking right now. But I'm going to go ahead and just pound on probably 3 or 4 coats of the build primer and then block it out at some point. I'm not sure that I'm going to do that in this visit, but get it blocked out and then go from there. I can put polyester filler over top of the build primer. I've done that before. I don't really want to do that, but if I don't have much of a choice to get those couple spots out, then I will. But again, I'm only going to do the build primer on the top here. The wings look pretty good. So no scratches and everything like that. I'm not quite sure why it was so much better on the wings, but that's where we stand. So a couple quick coats here on the build primer, and then we'll move on to something else. 3 coats of build primer. I put it on a little heavier, opened up the flow nozzle a little bit more than I have in the past. It looks okay, so we'll see. I'm not going to block it tonight, but we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully I won't have too much extra work to do. Alright, welcome back. 31st of July. Time to start blocking. I'm going to start with 220 and then 320 and see how it comes out. And hopefully I've gotten all those little things filled in that I was concerned with, but we'll see and then go from there. And no, I'm not going to bore you with more blocking. Blocked with 220, quite a bit of it, not everything, not every little nook and cranny, but you can see it's discolored now. This is the dry guide coat. I didn't really use this a whole lot. I used the wet stuff or the spray can, but I'm going to give it a shot here and see how it comes out. I know I got some, if you can see like this extra dark spot here, I got some flat spots going down in here. I'm not so sure that I'm going to take care of them, but I want to kind of see how bad it is. And these are those spots that I had mentioned where the spot welds are for that bracket. Some results. Again, the dark areas are low spots. I didn't, don't concern yourself too much with this stuff in here, but this is all pretty low. Obviously a high spot right there and pretty low in here. And then over on this side, not as bad, but I do have a light low spot right here. Now I'm still not down to epoxy over here, so I'm going to continue to take it and try to block it down a little bit, but that's I'm going to struggle with that. This one here especially may be deep enough that I may consider putting polyester filler on here. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Everything's been hand sanded through 320. I was able to get all of the guide coat out, but I cheated a little bit with the soft block here. I think this is going to be okay in here, even though it's probably a little bit wavy. It's a pretty flat area. I do have the one poke through a metal. The only other place that I can feel and it's not coming out is this. I got a bulge or something right here. You can kind of see this little light spot here, but it's not blocking through on me, so I can feel it, but I'm not really seeing it. So I'm going to tap down on this a little bit with a hammer, but otherwise I think I'm at a point of happiness here. So I'm going to clean it all up and get one more check on it and take a look and then go from there. Bonnet's been blocked out and DA'd through 320. I'm happy with the way that it looks, happy with the way that it came out. The sanding scratches are much less, and this is before wet sanding. So what I am going to do, I think, is move the bonnet out of here now, get it stood up and get it out of the paint booth. And my next phase here is going to be to prep the interior of the car and get it in red where the carpet is not going to be, and back here between the in the gas tank area, and get the inside and the door jambs and all that kind of stuff into red. I got to brainstorm on that a little bit, but I think that's the way that I'm going to go there. And as a little tease, if you've been watching my other video on the 240Z fender, that's how it came out after 3 coats of red last night. And that's without clear, and it's pretty nice and shiny. So I'm going to put the clear on it here as soon as I get cleaned up in the booth a little bit and call it a night. Alright everybody, that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment below, tell me what you think. Bonnet's on its way. As I mentioned at the very end, the next step is to do the interior, door jambs, things like that of the body. Getting scary. Take care. Cheers.